Greetings, aloha, ilakesh, and aloha. I was asked today, what do I do to occupy my time? Now it depends on what language you speak as to how you answer that, I think. But the key part of that is, how do I occupy? Do I not occupy this vessel? I can say with absolute certainty of feeling that now I am complete, I am in bliss, I am grateful. I am Father, Son, and Spirit in one. What I struggled to say in the last video was to explain the birth from above. It is told you will only see the Father through the Son. Only the Son knows the Father. So when this golden, glowing baby called David addressed me and said, "Father," I knew who I am. It matters not whether anybody else believes it or does not believe it. I was partly expecting derogatory comments, but all I have had is positive comments. And I am sure there are those of you out there who know and feel and can relate to this. Part of this is being, assuming that state that I am. Let me tell you from experience that everything is a lie in this reality. For example, my beloved Son will not be registered. He is with me always, is he not? And he will come to no harm, but he is with me and I am with him, because we are one. But what I will say, as varied as people can have epilepsy or any other dis-ease, the way cancer will manifest in one person in a different way that it manifests in a different way to another person. Everything in this reality is a lie. So when you have the birth from above, and this is living proof of that, because I am in a male body and yet I have had a birth of a son. I am the father of my son. We are one, within one. But everything in this reality is a lie, whereas women, the females, will go through the contractions prior to the birth. My experience of this has been the opposite way round. The birth from above was easy. The subsequent contractions are not. Today I went to a coffee morning and stayed for lunch, and I thought I would try a pint of Guinness, because black pints matter. And in this reality, who of you out there would take a 2-year-old child, a 2-year-old son out and give them a pint of Guinness? Well, I can assure you that my son did not like it and sent it back up immediately. But it was an experience to try, and not one I need to repeat again. But it was an experience, because I know that giving alcohol to a 2-day-old son in the spiritual sense will cause no harm. Why would it? It is only an experience. There's an interesting quote that, if you see it from the material perspective, it sounds awful. And that quote, a biblical quote, is, "I give to those that hath, and I take away from those that have not." Well, that would imply that those of millionaire and billionaire status I would be giving everything to do, which most of you unknowingly do anyway. Every time you give to charity, you are topping up what is given by the government to the various charities that have the appointed positions. That money, of course, comes from what is taken as tax from you at source. Big clue there, because you are God, even if you do not realise it yet. See, one thing I can say with absolute 100% certainty is you will have a son. You will call him David. You will have a birth from above eventually. How soon you do that is entirely up to you. You have free will, you have choice. What nobody has is thought, because thought does not exist. Because thought is a confusion and a fusion. It is thou ought. What is thou? As I've said before, God, or the Creator, is always the highest thought, so it is at the highest level. It is the line of the T. That is I and you, which forms the T. The H is the human, the splitting of cells, the creation into many forms. The O is the whole, the organic, and then there's you. That is thou. Thy, thee, thou, same word. So thou ought. Now you can be altered. You can go to an altar. But thou ought is the thought that you think. Because if it is thought, it is in past tense. Well, there is no past. There is only now, in the present. Whatever you want, whatever you desire, from that desire you create in thought and feeling. And you assume being in that state. That is what a human being is all about. I am reiterating what should rightfully be considered to be a prophet, a modern day prophet, Neville Goddard. In Neville Goddard you also see the evolution of man, because he exists in recordings. There are numerous channels. If you just type in Neville Goddard, you will find them. You can hear him talking in his own voice in recordings from the 1950s and 60s up to his death in 1972. But I can assure you that he still exists. The spirit of Neville Goddard is in everybody. His name is no accident. There is no such thing as coincidence. He is no veil. Neville is no veil, because he lifts the veil, he tears it away. I have been given all of this through the spirit of Neville, in immersing myself and absorbing what he is saying. But I have to acknowledge with gratitude a being, a fellow being, that guided me and showed me that. They know who they are. I'm not going to embarrass them and say, because I know they wouldn't want that, but I know they will hear this and they will know that I am talking about them. So I wanted it on public record anyway, because nothing hidden, all revealed. Transparency. What you have to do if you want to walk these two worlds, because you are in 2 days. You are in conscious and unconscious state. Lucid dreaming is when you can awaken yourself within the dream. But if you can also pull the unconscious into the conscious and be in conscious state all the time, then it is expanding awareness. I'd like to reiterate something that Neville Goddard talks about in Out of This World, and that is the 4th dimension. I've noticed over a period of time that there's talk of going from 3 dimensions to 5 dimensions and jumping for the 4th dimension. So if I can reiterate what Neville Goddard explains, if you start with a point, now you give it 1 dimension, you create a line. If you give it a 2nd dimension, you create a surface. If you give it a 3rd dimension, you create a solid. And then you can bisect that solid, and now you've got a 2-dimensional view of it. You can bisect that and have a 1-dimensional view of it. You can bisect that and you're back to the point of it all. But what about the other dimension? Because a dimension by definition is something that can be measured. Well, what have we got in this reality that can also be measured? Time. So what we all see is a bisected dimension of time in the physical form of now. But with an expanded consciousness, imagine if you could see every individual soul from birth to death in one. There's the 4th dimension. It is there. But think also then, if you add those 3 dimensions to that 4th dimension, you're going to get 7 dimensions. But when we are in 3 dimensions, that's a trinity, an inverted trinity, you could say. We're missing all those other ones, but in a 7th dimension, you would have time, but then you could also cross it. You would see a cross, would you not? And you would be able to cross, to run on a parallel. Neville Goddard talks a lot about this, about waking up in a lucid dream into a reality that is just as real as this one, and with the same outcome as if you were to say, in this reality, none of you are real, you are all in a dream. The reaction in both dimensions would be the same. It matters not which one you're in at the time, because the only time is now. Whatever you experience, whatever you feel is always now. All these illusions of travel restrictions, really. There is no travel restrictions, because if you go in to the dimension, now look at the word dimension, it has ment, which is, was it Greek or Latin? Ment is mind. Many are allowing another, not even a real living being, but a dead entity called a government, to pick up the pen and write the script and write your life story. Well, what has happened to your courage? Do you see our age? The core age? Where is the core? Within, just like the apple. Remember, the apple is the knowledge of good and evil. A little bit of knowledge can be a dangerous thing. But with the birth from above comes an expanded awareness and consciousness. If you'd have asked this vessel 4 months ago, and I have a witness to this that did ask me this question, what is my dream? What do I want to do? I sat there blankly and I couldn't answer that because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I've been drifting. But I asked, seek and ye shall find. The teacher will come when the student is ready. I have to say again, such gratitude for guiding me to this point of now. It's made a huge difference. And through this medium, I am assuming the role of serving humanity by trying to guide humanity. I'm not alone in this. It's not about being on a pedestal because we are all one. It's just many are thinking they are the car, thinking they are their thoughts, their personality, not realizing they are a vessel of experience of the Creator. We are the co-creator. You just have to give over the power. That will be shown to you when you have the birth from above. Your Son will reveal to you who you are. You are God in a form. That's what we all are. I am that I am. Well, what is that? T-H, at. God, human, at. Well, where is at? At is always here, always in the now, the present, the presence. That is who we are. We all are. We are all one. These videos may seem to be repetitive the more I make of these, but once you get the conceptualization of this and start the process and think, really think, because the word think is another big clue. What is in the middle of think? Is it not I? Again, T-H, God, human, I. N, as I've explained before, is Lord. It rises, it falls, it rises again, or in its lowercase form, it is like two eyes joined that are looking from a higher perspective down onto everything. And from that, well, I is that vertical line. Now the final letter is the K. You can go one of two ways. That is the free will of it. That is what to think is. It's not a thought, it is to think. Because a thought is a past tense. It's gone. There is only now. That's all there ever is. I, spirit, is. It is the power. The T is the God perspective. The A is the all. God is the Alpha and the Omega. Well, the last letter is the 27th letter, the ampersand. The amp-I sound, the vibration, the word of God. It is the A and E. It is contained in breathe. It is contained in feel. Don't be fooled by the spelling. Listen to the sound. The feel, the see, the hear and now. Etymology is a wonderful gateway. It is the worst form of communication. The ultimate one is feeling. When you feel it, you create it. Don't worry about how it gets here or how long it takes to get here. It just does, because it is. It will be here now when we reach now, which is always now. Sounds like a bit of a tongue twister, I know, but if you grasp this and kept up with this, then it will make sense to you. So, I will keep going with this and sharing my personal experience of this and this birth from above. The contractions could well go on for 3 years. I may only have 3 years of this vessel left. I don't know. I don't mind. I know it is only a gateway. The vessel is tied to this infinity. But another clue is associated with cancer. You can have benign and malignant. Malignant is maligned. Malaligned. It's distorted. Benign is exactly that. B9. It's the fetus shape that is a 6, but now it is turned the right way up, so the head is at the top. Where are the heavens? Golgotha, which is in the skull. God is buried within the skull. God is in infinite form. It is in everything, and it is in each and every one of you. God became man, so man may become God. It is all a big game, really. Unfortunately, a lot of us seem to have got stuck in the crazy house and looking at the distorted hall of mirrors, and the reflections are not what we really want to be seeing. So turn your eyes away. Deny the 5 senses of this illusory dream. Go within. Find the real world. Your father Israel is real. When you have that birth from above, you will just know it. You will feel it. You don't need to convince anybody else, because in whatever form that the Creator tries to appear in a singular form, many will deny anyway. It matters not. All that matters is how it feels within, because you just know. It's difficult to explain this in words. I can only guide anyway from personal experience. You can think, and like that letter K, you can go one of 2 ways with the information that I'm sharing. It is with the intention of unconditional love. It is just a guide to help you from personal experience. What you do with that is entirely up to you. That is your free will, and I respect whatever views you have. That is your choice, always will be, and that will never be taken away from you. So, ta-ta for now.